look out the window. There's a prick called Richard, and Richard wasn't very nice. Richard was horrible. This boy, Richard, made Trevor lie down on the ground on his back, and he took his Winkle out of his pants and he put it very carefully between Trevor's eyes on the bridge of his nose. Then Richard took his Winkle and put it into Trevor's mouth. So Trevor said, "Oh no, this is horrible." Richard said, "Ha! I'm inside Trevor's mouth. Fantastic." And Richard fiddle, riddle, diddle, fiddle, riddle, diddle for 5 hours. Richard's at it, and all the time Trevor is so sad. Such a sad place. And Richard overflows in Trevor's mouth. Not long after, a few days later, Richard come in Eileen Ogle's hamburger. And Eileen Ogle ate the lot. Oh no! So this prick, Richard, said, "Ha! Eileen Ogle, I come in your hamburger." Then Eileen Ogle was roaring, "Would you believe it?" And she just fell over and died. After a week or two, Richard was even more horrible. Richard's hand darted across the table into my brother's pants. And Richard said, "Fiddle diddle, riddle diddle." That's when Richard's hand starts doing things. You know, fiddle, riddle, diddle, fiddle, riddle, diddle for hundreds and hundreds of hours. Richard's at it, and all the time my brother is on the floor roaring. Why is my brother on the floor roaring? My brother is on the floor roaring because he's being wanked off by this terrifying madman called Richard. And my brother is roaring, "Get off me! That's my Winkle." Not long after, a few days later, I was watching this prick, Richard, and I said, I had hoped that it wouldn't be necessary for me to tell you how to behave. Richard said, "Ha! I'm not taking any notice of Michael." And then I said, "I'm asking you to behave." Richard said, "No." I said, "Right." And I ran over Richard with the car. Nice. There was an awful yelling and crying. There was the noise of Richard shouting by the side of the road. All his clothes were torn. There was blood on his face, and he screamed, "I'm going to murder Michael." I said, "No." And I ate Richard's toenails. And I ate the lot. Fantastic. Richard is on the floor roaring, "Get off me!" And I said, "No need to shout. No need to yell." Then I took one toenail, counting. I take one, put it in my mouth. I take 1, 2, put it in my mouth. I take 1, 3 into my mouth. And so it went on. Richard was shouting, "Michael Rosen nibbling my toenails. It's hurting. It's not fair. He's a greedy little pig." Then I do a wee on Richard's face and ran off up the street shouting, "Plums, plums, 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 plums." And then I went home. Mum said, "Did you have a good time?" I said, "It was great. Really great. Really good." Plums.